And
it looks like we're actually going to hop into a game here, which I'm sure you guys are excited about.
I'm thrilled.
Reynad on the Druid and RDU on the Rogue.
Tar Creeper in the presumably Jade Druid.
If I remember correctly, I think it was a one of tech decision.
I like tech decisions. So is this a matchup that you want that tech card in?
It's a little bit interesting. I don't know if I would keep the Tar Creeper here, just because a lot of times as Druid, you just want to ramp in the early game. You want to ramp to that Plague. So yeah, Tar Creeper slows it down, but I feel like there's things that you would want over it. It's like the same thing of Druid players realizing like, yeah, Wrath is good, but the ramp cards are just better, so then you just start to mulligan the Wrath. So
Yeah.
so like sort of the same argument. And
Wrath
we see
is
that
good.
RDU is going all in on that Edwin, mulligan and everything. Hopefully finds a couple more low mana stuff to make it as big as possible.
Not even going to keep the deck end, even though it's a 1-mana card that it can go in with.
Yeah,
Edwin.
I feel like deckhand on one is just pretty okay against Druid. A lot of times they're looking at Wild Growth on that turn too, so if they hero power it, you're usually happy about that.
Idle on one. Not something you keep against aggro, but it's a pretty good thing to just have. Because now your future Jade cards become better. Tempo plays, those Jades start trading. Not a keep though, I don't think. Wow. You can go in.
Yeah, what looks to be a slow start from RDU is actually just going to turn into a big old Edwin Van Cleef.
Yeah.
Especially if he finds a one-drop here, like a Swashbuckler, a Deckhand, just anything.
Swashbuckler is probably the best draw in this deck.
Firefly, that works. You
He
get
can
some
go.
1-2s and you make quite a big guy. I would have to check the deck list. I'm not sure if Reynad has a Spellbreaker in his deck, but that would be the card to hope for him.
Spellbreaker not uncommon in any deck right now, but Druid specifically likes to play at least one. All right, here it goes.
And RDU doing something that has existed forever in Hearthstone, just the art of making the big Edwin.
The giant Edwin.
And
He's RDUing it.
Reynad just making a little bit of a face. That's a big guy.
Yeah.
14-14, you're not getting through that thing naturally. You got to find a silence, which just might not exist. But, oh, there's the second Tar Creeper.
It's a 2 of tech.
Who knew?
I love 2 of techs. It's twice as good as 1.
Hey, man, how bad is just playing Master O card if you're already playing Tar Creepers? Pull out that, a Jade Spirit, and a Behemoth.
That's really bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like as in not good.
Yeah, not good.
Okay.
I agree.
That's an interesting Wrath.
So he goes it on the Edwin, so I guess he has just decided, okay, I got to kill this thing the normal way. Might not have the Spellbreaker in the list.
No. I wish him the best of luck. I really do. But I don't know how he's ever sinking 14 into that thing.
The Spellstone gets pretty big. I mean, Reynad doesn't currently have a way to make it big. He doesn't have a branching paths or anything. But he has time. He has these 2 Tar Creepers. He has the Spreading Plague in hand, which Edwin probably just won't be able to push face for at least another 2 turns here. Maybe even 3.
Probably 3. That Elder Longneck, though, is actually just pretty good. Going into a Plague turn?
Yeah, I wonder if he'll opt to play it here.
It's a good minion to play into a Plague turn. It kills a Scarab.
What adapt would be hoping for?
Health.
Health.
You're
Yeah,
always
it's
hoping for health.
3 mana 5/4 is pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. You just put that in your deck. I don't know how I feel about this. You could just do this next turn. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about the captain there. Because those buffs just come in next turn.
Yeah. It makes the trades feel a little bit less bad to play around Plague, but, you know, the Elder Longneck just lines up pretty good. So we see that Reynad did find the branching path, so he could make this Spellstone 6 attack, which is pretty good. it's hard to say, like, do you pull the trigger on the Plague right now? We saw him almost deciding to trade that Tar Creeper in and just Plague, but he might be thinking, hey, I could wait another turn.
What is the other play, is the question.
It would have to be Branching Pass, probably gain 6 armor, draw 1, or maybe just gain more armor and just try and live to Ultimate Infestation. Because if you make a 6 power Spellstone, like, you just pick up a Swipe, a Wrath, then the Edwin's dead. But unfortunately, you don't have to answer just the Edwin. There's more things on the board.
Yeah, and I like the Plague here.
And RDU's Quarter Creeper will get down to 0 mana this turn if he wants to jam it on the board.
That's going to come into play, for sure. What else is going to come into play, though? You just saw Plague. Are we going to go ham with these Flame Ellies?
I think he's probably just going to play the Prince and Quarter Creeper.
Yeah.
He plays around second Plague, and it's just a lot of power.
Okay, got Divine Shield, which I think is the second best adapt. Still can't get there with the 6 damage Spellstone.
You can ramp up to 10 mana, but what is it actually doing for you? You could play... Oh, I actually think you ramp, and then I think your out is to Spreading Plague, and then Branching Pass for attack. So I think you absolutely want to hold on to this Branching Pass, because you absolutely need the attack on the 1/5s for it to do anything, to start clearing out this board. So
You're going to die.
I think you have to take a lot of damage and
have
hope
to
to top deck
Spellstone
exactly Spreading Plague.
To remove the Captain?
Yeah.
You're taking heat.
Because think about it, his best draw is Plague, and if you just Plague for all the 1/5s, you're not gaining board back with just that. So you have to think, like, how can I actually get back in this game? And I think that's holding the Branching Pass and getting lucky.
Make a bunch of 3/5s.
Yeah.
Okay. Those attacks let RDU push more damage here.
Yeah, it did. Now he gets...
Could have just punched the 1/1. Would have prevented a little damage. In the grand scheme of things here, it wouldn't have prevented much.
Yeah, I like not playing any minions here from RDU, so...
I think this is lethal.
Oh, it's just lethal damage.
It's one-off lethal.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Something along those lines.
But, yeah, I think you hold the Fireflies, because, you know, you just know that Spreading Plague is his only card here. And that's just going to be it for game 1.
The big red button and get out of there.
You know, we've been seeing Jade Druid do well against the aggro decks, but this game it did, in fact, struggle. And it was mostly because the Edwin just had no way to deal with that, and it just continued to stick on the board for the entire game until it just pushed lethal.
Yeah. Makes you think.
There was 3 turns that it couldn't attack face, but the first turn it could, that's the turn you die.
Yeah. Those Tar Creepers.
So did we see what RDU banned out from Reynad here? Did he go for the Priest ban or the Warlock ban?
I believe they both banned Warlock.
Gotcha.
And they have the same classes available to them? Druid, Priest, Rogue.
Yes.
Druids and Warlocks being different.
I wonder if, you know, it's not a coincidence, just the 2 players with similar decks being the ones that are 3-0 right
now. Are they
now.
similar decks? They're not similar
That's a little bit of a stretch, but
it's
similar
a lot
classes.
of bit of a stretch.
That is.
But these classes obviously have access to very powerful cards. No surprise that they show up often in these tournaments. So here's a mirror match, as you were saying.
The good old Druid mirror match. It's been around forever, except this one's aggro versus Jade Druid instead of, you know, both people making big men, as some people put it.
Usually it's been Warlock with the quote-unquote mirror with the zoo against like the hand lock thing.
Yeah.
Druid never really had this aggro deck until Market Lotus came on the scene. And now Druid gets its fake mirror match. Reynad prepared for it though with the Galaka Crawler.
That's true.
Don't see any pirates in RDU's hand, but gonna be a useful card to have against this deck.
Yeah, one of the downsides of aggro Druid in a tournament format where it's open deckless is they could just mulligan for the deck correctly. A lot of times you get an edge on ladder because people mulligan for Jade Druid. So
Yeah.
Reynad knows what to keep. Saw him keep the Galaka here.
Kept the spell
And-
stone as well.
You know, even knowing the decks, this is still a pretty aggro Druid favored matchup. Druid just doesn't really have the removal to deal with the buffed minions early on. And we saw RDU draw the two most important cards, Mark or the Lotus, and he could just make 3 buff dudes next turn. And that's going to start hitting very hard.
It's a good way to beat Sprouting Plague. Is to just buff the guys that are already there.
Yeah.
You don't make more guys.
I wouldn't blame him if he just plays the Druid Swarm in 1 buff here, but save the next buff to hit more minions next turn with that
that's
top
pretty
deck.
Good. I like that line of play. Swipe. Won't do anything.
Yeah.
Against what, a 6, a 5, and a 2 health minion?
And Reynad's not working with much, man.
No.
He kept the Galaka Crawler, and that means it's going to be less likely that he finds the ramp. And when you don't hit ramp as Druid, a lot of times you just die.
Yeah.
Especially when he didn't play the Pirate.
Yeah. And you know, the aggro druid has to keep the pirate, even if they know you have the Galaka.
Yeah, you never toss it.
No.
Just can't be right.
No. You need to get those minions rolling as the aggro druid no matter what.
So this Vandal's actually not that scary here. He can't nourish next turn. Most value you could get out of it is just 2 Wraths, which, you know, that could be Reynad's hand. We see another kept card, RDU knows that the Galaka Crawler was kept, or, you know, whatever that card may be. So you might be thinking that could be a Wrath.
I would be very surprised if RDU showed any respect to this
Yeah.
Vandal.
You just hit him in the
We
head.
are threatening lethal.
Even if he could nourish, he'd hit him in the head, because who cares?
Yeah. Who cares? Is a good answer. And RDU's just going to have lethal with the Savage Roar. 9 on board. 8 from the Roar.
Yeah, that was an absolutely
That's
great
17.
hand. And he just played the curve perfectly. Played, you know, some 1/5 taunts, made them bigger, and ends it with a roar. That's 2 quick games going to RDU. And Reynad's now going to have to be able to 3-0 reverse sweep the Priest, which, if there was any deck that he had to reverse sweep, this is the most doable deck for him. He has Jade Druid, which is a favorable matchup. He has Warlock, which has to be favorable, with 2 Giants, 2 Drakes, and the Darkness. I don't know how much the Darkness actually helps, but, and then
It's
he
in there.
has Rogue, which is 50-50.
Rogue has game.
Yeah,
Rogue has game.
but
for sure.
RDU definitely sitting in a pretty spot here. You always
Oh,
feel
yeah.
good about being up 2-0.
If you have to win 1 out of 3 games with any deck against any set of other decks, you're feeling pretty good.
Especially when you just Raza Anduin on curve beats just about anything. And hopefully in 3 games you could do it at least once. And, you know, we see RDU opted for the more traditional Raza Priest rather than the Dragons coming out from WTY Bill earlier.
He full kept that hand and he drew Raz off the top.
Insane.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Cleric, Luthor to Kazakis, Raza the Chained. So what is he missing? Psychic Scream and Anduin?
Basically just Anduin. You don't even need the Psychic Scream.
Not with that hand.
Nah, with that hand. And Reynad going to hold back on the Jade Idol. Doesn't want to give him a heal target.
Is that worth it? You're going to have to play some Jades here.
Uh,
Or you're not going to have to play some Jades here.
Yeah, actually, sort of like this play. Against Raza Priest, you just really want to cut down on their draw. So it's a play that I feel like not a lot of people do. A lot of people just coin out the Jade Blossom, and then you just trade in the Cleric, and you get a heal, and you start cycling to your deck to those 2 important cards. So Reynad's showing knowledge of the matchup here. Just wanted to cut off that Priest draw.
It's going to work out.
Yeah, already you just had to hit face pass instead of draw a card. Definitely worked out pretty well from him.
Okay, we're back.
We're back in
Let's
there.
cast that Jade Blossom one more time. There it is.
And Reynad just continues to get to play on curve. You know, his hand's pretty good too. As long as he finds a UI by turn 10, his hand is very strong. But sometimes you draw like this with Druid, and then you fail to draw the UI. Like now with Branching Pass, it's a little bit more consistent, because that's just another card that could help you draw towards the Ultimate Infestation. Because you almost never want to draw with Nourish. Nourish is always going to be ramp.
Yeah. There is basically no limit on the amount of card draw you want in this deck because of Jade Idol.
Yeah, you just go infinite.
You really can't have too much card draw on Jade Druid. Whoa.
Okay.
He's worried.
He's making some Jades.
Second Idol.
Which, again, I think this is just pretty reasonable.
I like it.
Starts to put the pressure on. He knows that he doesn't really have a follow-up if he nourishes for mana. So.
For AoE.
This also sets up for nourish into the Jade Spirit.
I think he's saving it for card draw.
It depends on his top deck. You know, if he finds Branching Pass, if he finds UI.
Oh.
Does he ever wait for turn 9?
You just play it here.
And hope it sticks.
No. Ooh, but what do you do next turn if you make this play?
Yeah, you'd have to be playing off the top.
I guess you just play the Fandral next turn if you make this play and he deals with it.
I guess
if he doesn't
just
deal
draw.
with it, then...
Because if you draw into Ramp and Ultimate Infestation, that works out pretty well. But RDU just using the Dragonfire Potion. Knows he has plenty of resources here.
You play your men. Oh, okay. So he's thinking about not playing that to play around Psychic Scream?
I think it just lagged a little bit.
Think so?
Yeah.
Didn't look like he lagged. I think he picked it up.
That could be.
I mean...
That's a really early Psychic Stream coming out from RDU. I think it's pretty reasonable there, but you don't have Anduin just yet. Like, if Reynad just had refill here, just make 2 Jades, like, that's a lot of damage being represented on the board.
So, normally, as a Jade Druid, you can get to a position like this and try and just gain a million life and get out of range. Reynad is going to fatigue this game. He does not have any idols left.
Oh.
He can't go up to a million life and play Jade Idols into his deck forever. He needs to win this game. He needs to put RDU to 0.
Yeah. Sometimes the Priest just draws fast enough that you still can out-armor them. But without Jade Idol being infinite, I think you're right.
This deck has so much card draw in it.
You know, that's the penalty of using that Jade Idol right there. But you couldn't really shuffle it because a lot of times you're in these awkward situations where it's your second idol, so you don't want to shuffle it because then it decreases your chance of drawing the good cards because you don't really want to be top-decking an idol on that point of the game. And then, you know, if you make the guy like Reynad did, you run into a situation where you remove the win condition of just out-arming your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, the decision on that turn was to make a Jade or not play it. That was the decision that turn. He decided to play it. Yeah. It was really good. If RDU didn't get the AoE Kazakus potion, he would have pushed a lot of damage. RDU got it.
So Reynad is respecting the Anduin right here, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I think you're in a situation that if he finds Anduin this early, it's just, you know, might be game over. So taking the risk here, I think, you know, would be pretty good, but obviously we could just see RDU just doesn't have the Anduin yet.
But
got that caster vision.
Anduin with 8 cards in hand. You can play a Jade Spear the next turn, the 8H is just going to die. Yeah. Or you are.
We could have potentially seen RDU get a little punished for playing that Psychic Scream so quick, but instead, it's not staring down that much damage. He has a lot of time to just continue to cycle for that Anduin.
Another point, though, with Reynad playing that second idol, his ability to make a big board now is very limited. He's played a lot of Jades. These Jades are up to 7/7s now.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Aya is left and this Jade Spirit.
Yeah. A lot of times you just want to shuffle before that Ultimate Infestation turn, so then you have that refill.
You have a bunch of 1-mana giant dudes in your 10-card hand. That's pretty good.
And also another thing to note is that we've seen Reynad. He actually hasn't used a Branching Pass. I was about to say he did, but that was last game.
That was last game.
So, potentially, that's a lot of armor.
He can... There's no doubt that he can gain some life. I'm just worried that he's going to hit fatigue first.
5 damage to kill the 7/7. It's fine. You just want to kill the minions.
Yeah, there's no real burst with one minion anyway. Branching Paths is a Savage Roar. You don't get the hero. 2 damage, but...
Yeah, Reynad just knows that he has to win backboard here. Can't start Malfurion and armoring up just yet.
Yep.
And RDU has to just keep cycling. He's got to find a way for Acolyte to draw some cards here, probably. Doesn't have like a very pretty way to do it. He could have potentially went Alkanai and Ping it last turn, but you don't want to really be using your Holy Smite to draw a card off Acolyte. So
No, not here.
it's so awkward for him, though, because he doesn't have
Yeah.
a good way to deal with the 8/8. He doesn't have a good way to draw cards, so I think he's going to just
Play
lead
some
with
guys.
this and the Shadow Vision. He'll back up.
What Reynad could do is just play Malfurion and start doming him for 3 every turn.
Ooh, just punch him.
I love that.
Then if they play Anduin, they don't have that much healing left.
And that's it, and then you just keep doming them. They dome you a lot faster in that
Yeah,
scenario.
RDU has
but
no healing left, right? He just used the Binding Heal to
I think
kill the
he has
7/7.
a Spirit Lash,
Okay, yeah, Spirit Lash, that's true.
and that's it. And this Priest of the Feast, which is not dead yet.
But soon to be dead.
You know, probably.
Yeah, eventually. So usually taking the Poisonous Spiders is a little bit of a risk because of Potion of Madness, but he might decide that he has to take a little bit of a risk here if he thinks he's a little far behind.
He is very far behind.
So
And he needs to take this risk. I agree with this 100%.
unless something comes off the top, it's just going to work out for him here.
The 1/5s, his life total is not the issue right now. RDU's life total is the issue, and the board is an issue. Oh, wow. What type of elixir did he get? Oh, I think he got the Death Rattle that, like, it returns the minion to your hand?
The 1/1, that would be really good with Priest of the Peace.
No. It's +2/+2 and it Death Rattle put this minion back in your hand? Is that how it
I
works?
thought it's a 1/1 copy, I thought. Or is it just
I think
really
that's
just
a
Death
different
Rattle?
one. I think that's
Oh,
a different
okay.
one.
I'm just getting them confused. I think you're right.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to know all the elixirs?
That
You only
card's
see this
very-
card off random effects,
I
so.
could tell you the shields.
Yep, you're right. Just Death Rattle. Return it to your hand.
I could tell you the mauls.
Me and Frodam were trying to figure out the malls by name, and he actually nailed it. I don't remember the name of the Divine Spirit one,
Well,
but
who confirmed it?
I mean the Divine Shield,
Who confirmed that he was right?
because he guessed it that it was Divine Shield by the name before we saw that it was Divine Shield.
Oh, I see.
Frodam just knows. Very professional, knowing
course.
the
He's
names of the
One of
malls.
the best. If not the best. This is it. This is Last Jade. I'm worried.
I think it's pretty reasonable to be worried. Also, this is just a Lyra sticking, which
Yeah.
now RDU just gets to go off with this.
Boom. 5.
You think this delayed mind control is coming out here?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so.
I would tend to agree. But he could.
Oh, he's doing it.
The delayed mind control.
Why?
Card that has not seen play quite yet, but I feel like there is a meta where it could be right in. It's not the worst card in the world. I like it. I think it's a pretty cool card.
I think it's a cool card as well. I mean, look, RDU's getting that guy next turn. He might be a little damaged, but he's getting that 9 whatever next
No,
turn.
he's not, because this game is going to be conceded by then.
You don't think Reynad's going to ship it back?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
It's too sad to see your big men go to the other side. They can't betray you like that.
Yeah.
They're my big men.
It's supposed to be loyal. Not
But,
happening.
oh man, RDU just dominating this tournament so far. This is the first time we've seen him on stream, and it's pretty good performance.
So, did he get the meta right in this tournament? Is that what happened? Is he playing better? Could be any number of those things.
Yeah, as much as I like the spiteful Summoner Priest that a lot of people brought, I do tend to think that just Raza was just a really good bring for this tournament. Just does well
Super
versus pretty
powerful.
much everything.
Deck. It has draws that are very difficult to have really any counterplay against.
Yeah, and like this is like a good matchup for Druid normally, but as we can see, it's not good enough that it's 100-0. Like even like the bad matchups for Priest aren't that bad. It's a hard counterable deck, which is like perfect for Conquest.
Yeah.
You don't want decks that could be targeted. But
Reynad's early hand put him in an awkward position.
yeah, I said the hand would be great as long as he found the Ultimate Infestation, which he just couldn't find this game. And we saw him make the bold choice of making the 2 Jades early, so could also potentially cost him, but I don't think it had any relevance in this
He
game.
never found any
Yeah, he
real
never found any
draw.
card draw, so
It was
it's not
always
like it
gonna be-
actually went to fatigue.
No. and just drawing Jade Idols on these turns. It's just more draws that aren't UI.
I'm just sad that we didn't get to see Reynad's Warlock deck. Even I just don't want it to get banned. I want to see some more darkness, man. You gotta respect the darkness.
Mountain Giants. Still respecting it. Still removing it.
Alright, Reynad's holding on by a thread.
Normally, in these positions, you can see a way out for the Jade Druid.
You just gotta push this 10 to face
but
a million times.
Without... I'm surprised he didn't gain life and use the Spellstone.
Yeah, I think that would have been pretty reasonable there.
Either way, he doesn't come back here. But normally with Jade Druid, you can come back from these positions and play your big Jades behind, your Jade Idols behind the Plague, and then trade on the following turn, but just add Idols. RDU gets there with 6 damage Mind Blast. Takes it 3-0 to go to 4-0.
He's unstoppable.
Wow.